The Cougars and Huskies. So let's just start with you, Dub, because not much to talk about. It got absolutely dominated. But
we knew it was coming. A whiteout, baby.
We did expect this.
We all expected
35-6.
Trash.
Just
the
awful.
UW can't play on the road. The Big Ten
So bad.
just traveling. It's what's killing them. They literally threw 119 yards.
Yeah,
Combined,
it's
two
almost
quarterbacks.
like we knew if they were traveling across the country, who's going to play that well when you're still a student. So
They're not
yeah,
students anymore.
I know, but
They had
still,
a total of 193
they
yards.
couldn't run at all. And then the
74
passing was
rushing yards.
almost just as bad. Will Rogers did get substituted for Demond Williams. I know we keep going back on forth.
He's going to be good.
He did have
Very
a couple
good.
rushing yards, like 60, I think, maybe 40, and
He
then
was- I
had
think
like
it was
60 passing yards.
No,
but he
40,
wasn't.
40 rushing, 60 passing.
So he wasn't in for that many plays. But it's like, I don't know. I mean, what else were you going to do? They were already getting crushed.
28-0 at half. I didn't watch it because it was on the Big Ten Network. So I didn't see it, but like I'm
was
guessing
bad.
Penn State put backups.
It was
Actually,
bad.
on NBC.
Their
but I
tight
still
end
watch it.
had 2 rushing yards, or 2 rushing touchdowns.
It was 35-6 final, so I mean,
It was 28-0 at half.
I guess, yeah.
It was
It was
They didn't
embarrassing.
get scored on much, but they didn't even get a touchdown, right?
no,
2
it
field
was all
goals.
field goals.
All
Yeah.
field goals.
Which is actually probably good for them because their field goal kicker has been poops all year. And finally,
Yeah.
give him some confidence. I don't know where to finish it at. But
I
like-
mean, I just think
and it's crazy because the time of possession
So
wasn't
bad.
that. It was 31-28. Like 31 minutes, 28.
not even
it's
that
not
bad.
Yeah.
that bad to be like, you guys can't put a drive together.
And I
And it
don't
wasn't like
think-
turnovers. There
I
was
don't think they had that many turnovers.
one turnover each.
Yeah.
Penn State had a fumble and Will Rogers threw a pick.
Yeah, but they didn't
They-
run a lot of plays.
Suck. They suck. Like they have, and like it comes down to this weekend
Yeah.
for them. This weekend is literally their
UCLA.
make or break. Yeah,
They're
They
5 and
have
5.
to do
right?
it.
Yeah.
Not a big fan of their coach because
Jed Fish.
Jed Fish from
yeah.
Arizona. I don't know. Arizona started off good last year with
It's
him.
got hot.
No, they ended the year super
They ended
hot.
well?
It was they started slow, but then then they beat someone really good in that bowl game.
They
last
brought
year.
in that quarterback too,
Who's still
and
there.
benched the
Yeah,
Wazoo guy.
Now you're gonna blank on his name.
Oh, Delora.
Yeah, Jaden.
Yeah.
DeLore.
Jaden
He got
DeLore.
injured. I think is what. I don't think they benched him. I think he got injured.
I should have benched him.
Probably.
Yeah.
But it's just and I said
embarrassing.
from the beginning when Jed Fish. I mean, he had a good. I mean, Arizona, like we said, ended last year like in the top 20 and top 15. They ended the
Yeah.
year pretty good, and you couldn't bring hardly any of your starters to arguably a bigger program. It's pretty.
Yeah.
That speaks volumes.
It's
to
not
me,
a
where
good
I'm like,
look.
Yeah, I'm like, that's not great. I don't know how good Arizona's doing. I keep forgetting to look up all the Pac-12 stats or whatever from last year.
Well,
Like,
it can't be any worse than the Huskies because even though they're 5 and 5, which
They
is
don't look like a
awful,
5 and
they
5
just
team.
do not look good.
And they need one more win.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying.
They're
That's why I
bowl
think
eligible?
that's why I think the
I don't know who they have left.
UCLA and Oregon, and they go UCLA at home, which is winnable. Obviously, you can go either way,
Yeah.
but then at Oregon, they're
No.
giving up 100.
There's no chance.
Oregon is going to run them over, and I can't wait for it. They might run the table, but I can't wait for because UW's always like, now we have Oregon. Oregon's our rival.
Well, a lot more fun was the Cougars game.
Yep.
Much better game. Even though the score was 49-28, it looked like it was just kind of some garbage points at the end.
It,
wasn't
honestly,
really-
it was, but it wasn't.
Oh, because that's what
Like-
I was curious. So
I watched the first half, and then I fell asleep for the second half.
nice.
But the Cougs just looked good. Like the whole game,
Mateer-
it just looked fine. Mateer was.
Oh yeah. Do you think we should bench John Mateer?
Sam did say that after we lost.
No, I asked you.
When we barely beat. It wasn't San Jose State who was after
New
it. It was San
Mexico?
Diego. New Mexico. No.
No, I asked if you guys should think benching John Mateer.
Who was it after? It
But
was after the.
I didn't
Oh,
think you
well, no,
should.
we
It
played
was
New
after
Mexico
the San
next.
Diego State game because we. No, it wasn't last week. It was after the Fresno State game. Excuse
Yep.
me. And
It's like week 4.
Against Hawaii.
he's like, yeah, should we? And then I was like, why would you bench someone who's 5-1? Like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
There's also the Couch GM.
Mateer is literally
5 total TDs.
yeah. So he had
Yeah.
a game, and he's also like I believe Curtis, you said this a couple weeks ago. He 408
yeah.
total yards.
I remember what you said.
We still gave up 395, which I don't love. But again,
Yeah.
kind of like it's like you can give up all the yards you want, just no points. They didn't give up a lot of points. 303 yards on the ground was huge. Parker had a career high, 150
Yeah, Parker
yards,
went
149.
off.
He had a 75-yard runs. Mateer, 179 yards passing, 4 touchdowns, 55 yards rushing.
Yeah.
Kyle Williams, finally another good game out of him, 3
Yeah.
touchdowns. Not a lot of like yardage or anything. But Mateer's 23rd in passing, 6th in TDs this year, passing touchdown, and 66 in the country in rushing altogether. Out of every running back, not just quarterbacks. 66 in rushing.
How many total?
I don't know. I didn't look that up.
I'll look it up. I'm curious.
They are projected
630 yards.
Yeah.
Pretty freaking solid.
and so they are, I believe, 19 now going into next week. So they moved up 2 spots. Again,
Yeah.
you win out. I think next week is it the Oregon State game? It's either the Oregon State.
so.
It's New Mexico.
It's New Mexico, then Oregon State.
They should easily win.
They should win out. They should win out. I think if we win,
Right.
which is funny to say because it's kind of dumb, but I'm going to take it because I love it. If we win next week, I believe we are officially conference Pac-12 champions. Which suck on that, losers.
Good job.
Yeah.
You beat
if we
one of the two.
if we beat
Whoa,
Oregon
don't say
State.
anything.
Yeah.
We beat Oregon State. Hey, I
Apple
think,
Cup champions.
Yeah.
Hey, honestly, name the last time that's happened for the
What a
Cougs.
year. What a year.
Yeah.
So I think. So we're 8-1. I think it actually is already clinched. I could be wrong because we're 8-1 and Oregon State's 4-5. So
Yeah.
I think even if they win out, they win 7 and we have 8. So I think we've already clinched it, which is funny to say.
What a division.
I'll make some shirts. It's a great
Yeah.
division.
2024 Pac-12 champions with 2 teams.
I literally will make that. If they have that, I'm buying it. I hope.
I'm sure they do.
I really don't. You can put an asterisk next to you, do whatever you want next to it.
Yeah.
I don't care. They
Good
looked.
job.
They looked good.
They're running back too.
That's what I'm
The
saying.
freshman guy,
Parker.
But again, like Mateer,
Yeah.
portal. So
Parker. I don't know where
Wayshawn
Parker's
Parker?
from. Yeah,
Yeah.
he's from California, so he
Yeah.
might be a guy that stays.
So I don't know.
But he's also not had a great year.
I was gonna say, I don't
He only
even
has like
remember-
600 yards on the year.
Yeah, it's not much. He
So
just
he's
had
not-
a really good game.
Yeah, and I think
Yeah.
Mateer will be an interesting one. Like I've said before, he's from Texas. There's a lot of schools in Texas.
Really?
But he also. What did you say? Really?
Yeah.
But
I never knew that.
But
They
I don't
play
know.
football
I
in
mean,
Texas?
it's also
That's
one of those things
crazy.
where like Cam Ward has looked really, really good in Miami, but I also think Cam Ward
Didn't they
looking.
lose?
They lost.
They did lose.
Yeah.
Yeah, their defense.
To Georgia
Their
Tech.
defense is
That's crazy.
terrible. It's all about defense. It's literally like
Yeah.
the Warriors, like the Golden State Prime Warriors. They just have to outscore
yeah.
you
Because Cam Ward puts up pretty good numbers
every
but-
week.
Yeah.
But I it's
solid.
hard because to me, I don't see John Mateer being successful in every type of offense. Like I think Cam Ward, you literally could plug and play him anywhere. Like that's how
Yeah.
good I think he was.
Yeah.
Mateer, I just feel like he
might
needs
be a
that kind
step
of
back.
free flowing, kind of goofy offense that the Cougs offer.
Mm-hmm.
He also likes it here. I mean, he has never said anything bad about it. He did end up, getting. He came in before Cam Ward even transferred in, and then still lost the job to him. And I mean, we love him, and he knows that. So it's
Yeah.
hard to know. I mean, I don't think even if he goes anywhere else, he's going to be a drafted quarterback. I don't think he's got that in his.
I think he
locker.
could be like a late pick, but I don't think he's
I
going
don't-
to go
yeah.
anywhere he wants to be.
Yeah.
Right.
Like in the top 3 rounds.
Not
There's
yet.
no
It
way.
wouldn't be this. It would be after next year.
Yeah.
He needs to have another good year. But I just think, I don't know. He doesn't. It's not like he doesn't fit the mold of a quarterback in the NFL. That kind of mobile craziness. But like, I just don't know if
There's
he's
not
that.
enough.
I don't know if he's that NFL good. Like his arm is
Yeah.
fine. Like he's fine.
Right.
He could be like a backup. He could be a third string, a practice squad guy. But
Yeah.
it'll be interesting. I'm curious to see what happens. Obviously, they've announced the Cougs schedule next year, and there's some big games. Like we go down to Old Miss. That's a huge game.
Yeah.
I don't think we'll win because I'm semi-realistic about us. But like,
Yeah.
the schedule looks good for him to be like, hey, at least I'm going to go prove myself playing in SEC. I think we still play the Huskies at home. So we have games.
The neutral site in Seattle.
Nice.
Well, this year. Then next
That was
year,
awesome.
next year it's in Pullman. No, next year it's in Pullman.
They are doing
Yeah, they're
Okay.
switching. So next,
Good.
because they argued forever because this year was supposed to be
In Pullman. Yeah.
and they did it in Seattle, and they're like, well, originally the agreement was Blumenfield, Seattle, then
Neutral site.
yeah, literally, and then to
2 minutes from the university.
well, then
Yeah.
yeah, and then they were going to go next year to UW, and then Pullman, then UW, and then we all went. Well, that makes no sense because we lost technically a year.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
You would have UW, Seattle.
That's the
UW.
second time it's happened because it happened with COVID too.
Yeah, exactly. So we were like, no, so they're going to Pullman next year. But so there are some good enough games to like prove yourself.
Yeah.
I also don't know. I know he's getting paid by the casino out there in Spokane. They're paying him and Ben Graham or Greg from the Gonzaga, for the
Oh.
basketball player. And there's a commercial. It's so cheesy, but there is a commercial for it. It'll be interesting. I think the Cougs will win out. I don't know if they can get with the wins they'll get. I don't know if they're going to get up to
Push to top 12. Yeah.
you need some help, and obviously you had help with
Right.
like Miami losing. I think Georgia lost too. I know
Yeah.
Georgia dropped. I think
Georgia
Alabama's
lost to Ole
back.
Miss.
And Alabama, I don't think they lost, but they are barely hanging on to like 12.
Yeah, they've not been great.
Miami losing. I
They're
guess
number
that helps.
9. Yeah.
So and the other thing people still have to remember is like Alabama has to play Texas or the SEC championship. Like there will
Yeah.
be losses in front of us. I still just in my head I love the Cougs. I would go to the game, but I just know we're gonna have to play like Ohio State. It's like
Be good.
I don't. Yeah, we beat the UW, and that was like that's a Big Ten team.
Yeah,
and they're a good team. I'm not saying the UW is a better
Right.
team than us. Like in all honesty, but like we just have won the games we've won, and at home we are a much better team. Like if we could somehow get a game in the Palouse against like Ohio State, I would be like we could be on the upset. I mean, we've done it before. We beat Oregon back when with Minshew. We beat UW plenty of times in the Snow Bowls or anything. If we had a home game, I'd be a little bit more intrigued. But I think if we have to go to like Texas or Ohio State, I'm gonna be like, well, I might go, but
Might not see much.
Yeah, I'm not gonna be too enthused. But you never know. I mean, the Cougs. The Cougs make a lot of weird things happen. So, but it was a great weekend, 100%.
Yeah, they did.
You almost put up 14 points every quarter. Thanks for listening to the Kind of Athletic podcast. Please like and subscribe to all our social media platforms, and make sure to come back to hear more from the Kind of Athletic podcast.